Hey everyone, welcome to another Nintendo Prime Live. Tonight we have a special guest, our good friend OJ, aka Player Essence, popping on over. We're going to have a dual stream conversation a little bit into the stream. But first off, welcome your host, the one, the only, Nathaniel Rumpfeljans.
Welcome to Nintendo Prime Live. Yes, I got my Packer gear on. Yes, I have the Green Bay Packer Thursday night football game up on the TV to my left, just off screen. You guys see like maybe a smidge of an edge of it here, but you know, we're trying not to get copyrighted over here. We're going to be having a conversation with our good friend Player Essence. He has not been, we haven't done anything together. I think like back in March, we did a podcast episode. We attempted to do a podcast episode. It was a bit rough. That's when we were just got done installing the new flooring and doing the whole remodel stuff in the studio. So things were a bit rough. Our audio wasn't quite working. It's not as simple as now. We're like, hey, you guys can call in, or hey, this, or hey, that. Well, it's much simpler now. Hopefully everything works. The only thing I'm not positive about is the video on his side, because I have to use two cameras for that to work. And it should just work for his side because he's streaming as well. So it's going to be on his side as well. I'm not 100% sure if the camera will work, but it should. The thing is, this camera is also fed in the Streamlabs. And so like sometimes you have to like turn off Streamlabs and then start a Discord call. And if I turn off Streamlabs, then the stream dies. So it'll be really interesting to see if I can get the camera to work for him. I really hope I can. I hope that it's not just a video feed on our side and not on his side. That would just be lame. So the whole point of me having all these cameras is to make sure that I can do stuff like this. But I haven't done a dual stream like this on two different channels in a while. So we're just going to do the best we can. But yeah, we're going to be having a conversation tonight. We're going to be talking about the Game Awards and potential media bias. We're also going to be talking about, I believe, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, some Switch Pro stuff as well. So it's going to be a pretty hot conversation. This is not what you would call a debate. If you guys remember, in the past, OJ and I have had a couple debates. We did a debate over Nintendo becoming EA like way back in the day. That's like 5 years ago at this point. And then there was another debate over things like, how do I put this? We had a debate over Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on if it's a remake or remaster or whatever. And at the time, obviously, he and a lot of people in the audience thought he won the debate, but at the end, I ended up being correct. It is what it is. No one really cares because, to be honest, that's all water under the bridge. OJ's a great guy. He's always been a big supporter of the channel, and I've been a big supporter of his. I literally am a paid member on his channel because I believe in his content, especially when it comes to getting that RPG news. He's my literal go-to source for all the RPG news out there, especially JRPGs, but just RPG news in general. The Switch is sort of an RPG king, as seen by the Game Awards nominations this year. In the RPG category, it's Elden Ring and then a bunch of Switch games. So if you really like RPGs, it's like you kind of sort of have to own a Switch, right? Like there's so many RPGs coming out, you know, you sort of have to own that. But I just wanted to say hi to everyone before we get this this thing going over here. And I told OJ I hope the camera works. I can't guarantee it because I don't want to have to kill my stream to get it to work. It's one of those weird things. When I did the test in Discord, it looked like it worked. I'm going to do a test one more time before I call him and just see if the video is going to pop up when I do a test video. And of course, it doesn't look like it's popping up. But sometimes if I change the source, of course, I mess up my stuff there. Give me a second. Yeah, you like the Technicolor thing going on with the multiple Nates? Yeah, that happens when I mess with the Discord video. Give me a second. I will fix that on my end. I think I just have to hide my camera and come back. Nope, that didn't do it. That's right. I have to change my camera source and it fixes it. So if we go from this to this, then back to this, that fixes it. There we go. And that's what I should have did on this side as well. I should have went to, maybe that, and then back to, there. We can go to that. See, that works. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that I can show it for player essence before we get going here. Maybe if I go up here and I completely remove the webcam source. So let's just remove it. Yes, I'm sure I want to remove it. And make sure I remove it in the other window as well. Just making sure we're good to go for OJ over here. Again, I'm just trying to make sure it's working on Discord. Because again, it's one of those weird things where you kind of have to, when you have multiple programs able to do, use the same cameras, Discord is really, really funky with it. All right. Besides that, while I'm working on this, how you guys doing tonight? You guys having a good night? Don't worry, I'll fix that in a second. You guys having a good night? All right, can we stop the preview? All right, maybe we gotta leave and then come back in. Yeah, there we go. All right, and then let's fix my camera again quick. Should be super simple. You guys like this little black and white multicolor thing? It's kind of weird, right? The only thing that seems to work smoothly is that I wonder if I should change my camera source. That might be the way to go. I know there's a different way I can do this. I might just change my camera source over to this AverMedia capture card. But let's go back to the cam link quick, because the cam link doesn't work nice with I'm gonna change how my camera's set up here for a second, guys. So let me play some music for you while I mute this, and give me a moment to get things all switched over. All right, we'll get this up and running here in a second. I told LJ it might take me a moment just to make sure that everything's working. So let me play some music for you guys, and it won't be a Be Right Back screen because I just don't have one. So I don't know. Enjoy some Punch-Out music. All right, so I think we're good. I'm seeing this working on Discord. I'm seeing it working here. Let me just double check in this setting we're going to do with him, which I think it's good there too. No, it is not. Wait, maybe it is. It is good over there. Okay. All right. So I think my video feed's at least good to go over here. Again, just had to change what capture card I was using. Camlink does not like working nicely with two different applications, but I have a more professional AverMedia 4K capture card that I usually use to show off my laptop, but we'll just run the camera through it and call it a day. Because, yeah. And, hey, the Packers stopped them? Hey, when did the Packers stop the Titans? When did the Packers stop the Titans? Was that just a grounding? 15-yard penalty? Because Rodgers was trying to avoid a sack? Intentional grounding? Yeah. Anyways, doesn't really matter since they're just punting. All right, let me see if we can get. How you guys doing, by the way? You guys doing good? Before we get player essence in here and we have some fun. You guys doing all right? You guys having fun? You guys having fun? I hope so. We got a banger stream for you here. You guys having a good time? All right. Let me message OJ and see if he's ready to go. All right. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully he pops up on the right screen for my setup. I totally did this setup with a different camera. That's all right. It's pretty peaceful here. Just waiting for that dude. Yeah, dude. OJ be on in a second, guys. We got it. He's got his stream going over there too. I'm not. His stream's muted on my end though, so I have no idea what he's saying. So he's got his thing going. He's getting his crowd hyped up, doing his thing. And I'm just hoping my Packers hold on, man. Wait, my name is Green. I'm poor. You probably got gifted a membership. We have gifted memberships on our channel. So, all right. As soon as OJ gets back to me, I think we'll be good to go. Going to disable that. Just wait for the video call here. Or wait for him to give me the okay to start the video call. Who's calling in? It's going to be Player Essence. He's in literally in the title at Player Essence. You guys should go check him out. RPG news out the butt, man. You want to keep up on Nintendo Switch RPG news. He's all on top of that. He covers a few other games for other platforms as well, but he's all on top of that RPG news. He's my go-to expert for all things RPG related, let me tell you. Anyways, send the call, he says. All right, well, here's hoping.
Yo.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up? How's it going? Hey, do you need me on video?
I mean, it's up to you. You can be on if you want. I have a setup either way.
Okay, no, this is fine then. All right. We good. We were talking about the rise and fall. You know what the rise and fall is? Have you ever watched that stuff before, Prime?
No. What's the rise and fall?
Like, you never watched like the rise and fall of like a content creator, like those videos that people make?
Yeah.
Okay, you've seen them before.
Yeah, I've seen them before. I don't watch them anymore, but there was a time in my life I was in the drama
Why don't you watch
channels.
them anymore?
Because I'm just not in the drama anymore, man.
You're boring, Prime. You're as boring as Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well,
You're as boring as Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, that boring guy's got 4 MVPs in a Super Bowl, so if I'm that boring, I'll take it.
Why does he got more MVPs than playoff wins?
He doesn't. He's got 11 playoff wins.
What? Wait, hold up. Why did a porn star beat Aaron Rodgers as many times as he has?
I mean, porn stars, they just don't give 2 flying Fs. So
why did porn star Jimmy beat Aaron Rodgers so many times?
It's not even just Jimmy, dude. It's the 49ers in general. Back when they had Kaepernick, they used to kick the Packers' butt in playoffs too. I don't think they've ever beat San Fran. I don't think Rodgers has ever beat San Fran in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know if he has. Which is interesting because he was always like in the regular season. I think he's beaten them multiple times.
Yes, yeah, he has beaten them in the regular season. But as soon as postseason hits, I don't know what it is. He plays like crap. The defense plays like crap, and the 49ers run all over us. It just is what it is.
Yeah, I remember one year was like Mostert had like 200 something yards and like 4 touchdowns or something like that.
And then there was one year Kaepernick had like 130 rushing yards in a playoff game. I'm like, what are we doing, man?
Kaepernick was hard to control though. Like his running game was a lot of teams struggled with him. But all right. Anyway, I think we're boring the audience with our football talk. We got to do that later. What was I about to say? I forgot. All right. Okay. So we're talking, guys. I know Prime, you had a very interesting video, and I and I was listening to your stream the other day. I was stream sniping you because we were just acting goofy because my streams aren't serious.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, we got Nintendo Prime on the call. I have your picture up and everything, so. And I have his channel's linked in the description, so you guys go subscribe to him. He's awesome. But we were talking about the Game Awards, and you made a video, Prime, and I wanted to push back a little bit on the video that you made. I think that there's some very good points, but I wanted you to explain in your words why the Game Awards is, and I'll get to donations in just a bit. If you have donations, you can queue them up and we can read them off if people have questions.
Sure. Yeah.
And we'll get to those in just a bit, or anytime you can let me know. You can just interrupt me. I don't care. Shout out to Casual Noob. Thank you for the 23 months, man. But your video, you said that there is a Sony bias, like anti-Nintendo Sony bias, and people on Twitter, your favorite website and my favorite website, people on Twitter called you out for being your name is Nintendo Prime. So since your name is Nintendo Prime, there's no possible way that you could be making a valid point.
No,
is that true?
I mean that's what they say, because I'm biased, even though one of the first things I say in the video is I'm biased. Like, I know I'm biased, but everyone's biased, so I don't know how that's a valid. That's not a valid point, to be honest. But it's whatever. Like, watch the video and determine for yourself, right? Like, don't just look at my username and make an assumption. But that's what the internet does.
So what's your issue with the Game Awards then? What makes it Sony bias?
Well, I mean, there's a number of things. I mean, you could look at previous years if people want. And I know some Xbox fans got a little upset because they're the ones that really get snubbed a lot. I mean, Xbox just hasn't had a lot of exclusive content. But that's changing because they bought a bunch of studios. Like they got Psychonauts 2 into Game of the Year last year. So that's probably going to change moving forward. They got some big games coming up. But it's interesting just looking at it this year. Something I noticed, and I probably think I knew this in the back of my mind, but I never bothered to check because I just didn't care, because I don't sit here and cover games for other platforms, really. I pay attention, but I don't check reviews. I don't check stuff for games that aren't coming to Nintendo, because...
You biased bastard.
Well, I know... Look, guys, reviews don't sell me on games. I know what I'm going to buy before it gets here. I don't need a review to tell me if I want to buy a game. It's very rare that a review influences my purchasing decisions. Like all those Pokemon reviews today, I'm still playing Pokemon tomorrow. Like, that was already predetermined. So
why are you being a fanboy and playing Pokemon?
I've been wanting open world Pokemon for 25 years, so I'm not even going to apologize. I got to try it. I just
get you being
I got to try
being
it.
Biased.
I am biased.
I'm
a Nintendo fan. I'm not going to deny it, but I know what I like. I don't know if I'm going to like Pokemon though, because I haven't liked Pokemon in 15 years.
How do you know you like Pokemon?
I haven't liked
reviews.
I haven't liked Pokemon in 15 years, to be fair. And there's been games that are reviewed well.
It's been 16 years now, so you're not going to like it, right?
I mean, I don't know. I might not like it. That's yet to be determined. I did like Legends Arceus earlier this year, but apparently because I'm a Pokemon hater and a Gen 1er, I can't like Pokemon. Apparently, I don't know. That's the Pokemon community.
You're a Gen 1er?
Oh yeah, Gen 1er. Gen 1 was my favorite gen. I liked Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and because I liked that and didn't like Sword and Shield, I apparently suck, which is fine with me. Pokemon community is quite savage. So
you still wear like Charizard pajamas and stuff like that, huh?
Oh yeah. Actually, I don't think I've ever owned Charizard pajamas. I had a sleeping bag once though.
Pikachu sleeping bag?
Yeah, Pikachu sleeping bag. Even though Charizard was my favorite, but that's not what I got for Christmas. So. But no, so look, I can't ever say 100% sure that there is a bias, but what I can, because the bottom line is one of the number one issues with the Game Awards is there's no transparency on how the nominees are done. They grab a bunch of media outlets. The media outlets, outside of a couple like Kind of Funny and Easy Allies at one point, told us how they do the voting, but they're sort of, I guess, an offshoot of traditional media, like used to be traditional, but they're not anymore. So they're more open with their fan base because they're fan supported with their money. So like there's a little bit of a difference there with them. So they've been a bit open about, hey, only like 2 of us did this and we didn't vote for anything we haven't played because we don't think that that's fair. And that's fine. At least they were transparent. But the other outlets, the IGNs, the LA Times, the Gaming Bible, and all the, I don't know, I didn't even do a total count on all the outlets that determine the nominees. None of them tell you how they handle the votes. There's an assumption, as I found out after I posted my video, that people think every employee at these companies gets a say, and then they just like do votes, and then they tally the votes, and that's how they turn in their nominees. And I can pretty much tell you, everyone at the LA Times did not put a vote in for these nominees. I sincerely doubt the multiple thousands of employees at IGN all put in votes for this because they have jobs. They have things to do. This isn't something that they're going to take the entire staff and interrupt their day to deal with. It's going to be whoever they choose. Well, we don't know who they choose. So there's that in that we just don't know how the nominees are decided at each outlet because there's no transparency. We don't know how the outlets are chosen by Jeff Keighley because, again, he doesn't provide the transparency on what outlets he decides to include. So are you calling
Jeff Keighley a fraud? That's what I want to know.
I don't want to say a fraud. I think he means well.
I think you're calling him a fraud.
He's not part of the voting process, but he is the one who determines.
Just say it with me. Fraud. I just say it with your chest. Just pump your chest up. Say fraud.
I know. I can't do that. I think here's the thing. Anyone that I think means well, I can't call him a fraud. I don't think he means anything. He means for there to be a bias, as an example. He's not telling IGN.
You can call Black Keighley a fraud. Just go ahead and call Black Keighley.
Well, that's you. So of course I can call Black Keighley.
Call me. Oh, damn it. Well, there you go. Now end of the show, guys. There you go.
Oh, but anyways, look, these outlets. We don't know who's doing what. So that's the first thing to start. I don't think Jeff Keighley's telling IGN, hey, it should be Pierce Schneider and this person and this. No, IGN gets to decide whatever the hell they're doing. But one thing I noticed when I look at all the games that get nominated, and I probably could go back to prior years and make it even a stronger case. Like I know some people think like Last of Us Part 2 winning Game of the Year is a bit fraudulent, especially since a certain other game came out that year that has a 5 in its title. That was actually the highest reviewed game of the year. That wasn't up for Game of the Year, but that's
Forza.
yeah.
What year are we talking about?
Yeah, Forza.
Last year?
Forza. No. When Persona 5 Royale came out, buddy.
Persona 5. Okay, but that's like a remaster, though, right?
Well, but it was a 95, and other remasters seem to have no problem getting into the awards.
Which one? Which remaster?
Well, certain Sony games seem to be
So are you trying to say that Naughty Dog is lying? They call that a remake.
I mean, you can call it whatever you want. Bottom line is it's based on a game that already came out. I mean, at this point, Skyward Sword HD, then that should be nominated for something, right? I mean, not this year, but
that's not a remake. That's not a remake. That's a remaster.
I mean, they fudge the terms anyways, right? That's just the way all these companies do. They fudge the terms. I mean, technically, is it a remaster? They just called it an HD. I mean, that's Nintendo's terms.
Nintendo. Oh, no! After me getting slapped when it comes to Xenoblade, I'm not touching any Nintendo games.
Yeah, dude. Nintendo and their terminology, Nintendo and their terminology does not help the conversation.
No, it doesn't. It does not. Okay, so I mean, I watched the video.
Yeah.
And I agree with. I'm just being dumb, just because whatever.
I'm aware. I know.
But like the points made, and something I kind of wanted to follow up on. I didn't want to make a video about it because I knew you said that you were gonna make one. So
I ended up just taking clips from my stream because I got too busy. But whatever.
Oh, okay, no, that's fine. Your stream was fine because you were spitting in the stream, so it doesn't matter. Like I wanted to talk about it too, maybe a little bit. It seems to me like Nintendo games have to be extraordinary to be nominated more than once. No matter what.
90 overall is not even good enough. Just ask Animal Crossing.
Yeah, they've got to be like you said, they've got to be extremely extra. They've got to be like Mario Odyssey. It's got to be like Breath of the Wild, like the second tier rate games that are like 87, 88. You will never find 86. An 83. You will never find an 83 overall Nintendo exclusive up for Game of the Year. It'll never happen. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that. Yeah, I don't think
the lowest was Metroid Dread. Rated the lowest was Metroid Dread, and that was at 88.
Yeah, I don't think and the lowest in the history of the Game Awards is Dread, if I'm not correct, right?
For Nintendo, it is, yeah. Yep. Yeah,
for Nintendo, the lowest game ever rated for Nintendo for Game of the Year is Dread. That's the lowest ever. Outside of that, and I mean, Dread's the only game outside of the traditional or typical, Mario.
Yeah,
Zelda.
until this
I
year,
think
because Xenoblade got in, which I was actually surprised that Xenoblade 3 got in, but
Bayonetta 2. Did that get into the
I
2014?
I don't think it
I
should
don't know if
have.
that got
It
as
should have. It was in
Game
the
of the Year
90s.
nominee.
It was in the 90s.
I don't know if
should
it did or not.
have.
but-
God, what year did that come out again? That was
2014.
2014.
So you have to look
Okay.
at that year. Okay, my chat's telling me yes, it did. So
Okay. Yeah, but again, that was also a game rated in the 90s.
yeah, that's a 90 something rated game. Like Nintendo games, it's like they've got to be 90 something plus. They've got to be they got to be up there. And even then, they're not even going to win a lot of awards. Like if it ain't Zelda, if it ain't Mario, it's very difficult for the games to win awards or even get nominated. I know you brought up Triangle Strategy. Triangle Strategy is a game that deserves way more praise
Yes.
than what it's getting. It is a 85, I think, or so. And it's not even just about the score, it's about what the game does. The encampment is one of the greatest inventions in a strategy RPG ever.
I can't believe it didn't exist till that game. Seriously.
Yeah, like I was baffled that, wait a minute, why doesn't every game have an encampment? Like, why doesn't every RPG have an encampment to where you, like, right before a battle, in between story missions, at any point? Like, these are the type of things that, in my opinion, I feel that these games don't get nominated because they don't play them. If you played Triangle Strategy, you wouldn't be saying 4-Hour Cat Game is better than I don't think it'd be hard for a core gamer to sit there and say you play as a cat running around for 4 or 5 hours is better than a game like Triangle Strategy with an in-depth story, super good lore, fantastic quality of life options, really addictive battle system, 100 hours replay value, and that gets nominated one time, and Cat Game gets nominated 6 times more than a game like Triangle Strategy. So it's just like, I don't know, it's rough for Nintendo, like, exclusives or Nintendo games, like,
Yeah,
so I don't know. What do you think about that?
Dude? It's so, like, I did a little math, and not counting A Plague Tale Requiem, just to be fair, because it is multi-platform. And yes, guys, we know Stray is also on PC, but go ahead and look at the reviews. The outlets deciding didn't play it on PC; they played it on PlayStation. So it's interesting because when you count those 3 games, they have 27 total nominations between the God of War, which I'm not saying God of War doesn't deserve it. I never said anything negative about God of War. It's a 94. Well, this is one of the best games of the year. Hasn't been out very long, but hey, whatever. Horizon, didn't have a problem with Horizon being nominated for Game of the Year. It's fine. It is one of the highest review games of the year, one of the biggest releases. It's fine. But those 2 have 17 nominations. And then you have Stray coming in, giving them 23. Nintendo has a grand total of 10. And honestly, if you get rid of 2 categories, Nintendo has like 3. And those 2 categories are Family Game, which everyone knows at this point is basically the Nintendo award, which they might lose to Lego Star Wars this year. So they might even lose their own category. So, I mean, there's a realistic chance if Tears of the Kingdom doesn't win Most Anticipated Game, we could get blanked if Lego Star Wars takes Family Game. But we'll see. We don't know for sure there. And then RPG, because it's Elden Ring and then nothing but Switch exclusives. Which, I mean, if you're an RPG fan and you don't own a Switch, you're missing out. OJ knows all about that. He's a big RPG guy over there. It is
At times.
Just at times.
All the time.
It's literally like, look, there's good RPGs on other platforms, and there's good multi-platform ones. But I mean, if you don't have Switch, unless you're emulating, you're really missing out on some massive RPGs, especially JRPGs.
I don't know. I look at it and I see, like, because I mean, I played Sifu, I played Cat Game, Stray.
Yep.
And I played these games, and it seems to me like the review scores kind of marry, like when I play it, like 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. So it marries that, like, it's low 80s, cool. Yeah. But then it seems like once we get to the Game Awards, all of a sudden these lower rated games are elevated past games that everyone was saying, yo, this is way better. It seems like this happens a lot.
Yeah.
Stray and Sifu's a great game. Sifu's actually really, really, really good.
Yes, it is.
But it just seems to me like these type of games, are getting extra clout because they're hyped on PlayStation. A little bit extra boost, extra clout. Because it's like you have Game of the Year nominee Xenoblade Chronicles 3, 89, one of the highest rated. It got blown out by Cat Game. in terms of nominations. It
Yeah.
doubled up. Cat Game doubled.
How does one of the best narrative games of the year not go up for best narrative?
Because they didn't play the game.
Exactly.
And that is my stance with this, is that Xenoblade is so complex and it's a bit confusing with the narrative if you don't play it.
Yeah, you gotta
play. I feel that these
Yeah.
people did not play. That's why, here's the thing with this. This is something that I theorize. I'm going to talk about in a video later. But they don't play the Nintendo games. So Nintendo games don't get nominated for anything that you actually have to play to nominate it for. So like narrative, you would need to play the game to see if it's best narrative. They didn't play Xenoblade. They didn't play Triangle Strategy. They didn't really play Live Alive. They didn't play all these games that have these dope narrative. They didn't play all of them. So they're not going to nominate it. They nominate for the stuff that's very easy, simple. Okay, that's easy. Like Xenoblade music, you don't have to play the game to know the music's awesome. People hear the music all the time on Twitter, whatever the case is, YouTube videos. You can hear the music wherever, right?
Great.
You don't got it. Like there's tons of music that I listen to that I know that's good soundtrack, but I didn't play the game.
Yeah.
You know, like Ace Combat, for example. I don't play Ace Combat, but the music's awesome. You know. And then there's like, other like I said, like you have to like performances, like let's say Noah's performance in Xenoblade. Well, you're not gonna know it. He's not going to be up for any nominations, just like no Nintendo games ever get up for any nominations for performances.
Harry McIntyre did awesome.
Yeah.
He was amazing. I'm sorry, that performance, like usually you're used to like the English voice acting sucking, but they hired the same people who did Elden Ring. They hired the same company. Like they went all out and it shows. And there's no recognition for it because they didn't play. I mean, it's very obvious they didn't play.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think that's one of the issues why I think maybe you said that there's a bias there, is because they're not playing the games. So therefore Cat Game, gets look, listen, Stray's okay. Like, I get why, like some people thought it was novel or whatever the idea is. I mean, it's a cool little game, but I mean, game of the year, 6 nominations over a game, like I said, over Xenoblade, which almost averaged a 90. I mean, if you averaged out all the scores, dude, it was so close to a damn Metacritic must play 90. I mean, not that one point really matters too much, but like the fact that that is a thing, and also like Triangle Strategy, which you would think for any like core gamer, you would think that these games are definitely better than like small experience that really like, you're just kind of like walking or you're just kind of doing weird stealth stuff. I mean, it's a cool little game, but it just seems really, really weird to me. And look, we're not the only ones. There was Forbes came out and various other entities, not biased or whatever the hell, came out and said the same thing with some of these picks that we said, so it's not just us.
Like I have a problem with, I mean, people can laugh about it, but we had the highest rated Kirby game of all time come out this year, and it only gets stuck into a single category. And I get that based on the categories they have, like there's not a platformer category, right? So it's not going to be up for that. So I understand there's not a lot of categories that favor it. But there are some categories that really bother me, like the best what visuals or whatever it is. Best art direction. Well, all 5 or 6 nominees or whatever are the exact same art direction. So you're just picking the best of a specific art style rather than actually considering all art styles in gaming. And I thought that was weird because in the past they've even had like, really cool looking, different looking indie games up for that. And of course they went with Stray, which again goes in the same art direction as all the other games that they have up for it. And I was like, if Kirby could get into any other category, that should be one of them, because that game is carried by its art direction visually. But it's whatever. I'm always going to fight for Kirby when it's that good. Like they actually put effort into this one, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, Kirby, it's unfortunate there's no best platformer.
Yeah.
There's best esports coach. There's all these stupid awards.
Oh, dude, I think the esports stuff. Look, I got nothing against esports. I know it's huge, and I've said this now for 3 straight years. They need to have a separate esports night.
But what do you need to say? Best esports coach, best esports team.
So what they could do is
just put best esports team, and then the coach is part of that team.
Yeah, I mean, there is that. There is that. I think they just want to make sure individuals get recognition. I just said, hey, look, esports should have its own night. Jeff Keighley should throw together an esports tournament night, and they should do all the announcements there. And heck, maybe even throw in Content Creator of the Year there, because honestly, I think the Game Awards should be about the games and the people making them, not about the people that play them and talk about them.
Okay, I will say this. I just a light bulb went off in my head, Prime.
Sure.
And I know why esports is nominated, like why there's so much esports stuff. Because it's money, it's big. They want those people to watch.
But
like,
they stream in
esports
China
is
now
huge,
too.
So
Yeah. Asia, it's
yeah,
massive.
I'm dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's massive in Asia. No, I totally get why he does it. I just feel like this could be a 2-night event, and the first night could be your recognizing the esports stuff. Do it even cooler, tournament around it. You're going to get all the esports eyes on it, and then then the next day do the actual the game individual game awards. But it's whatever, because the thing is, the esports stuff, they always rush through it anyways.
Yeah.
So like it would actually be in my opinion, give esports more attention if they just did a separate night, built a tournament around it, get some. He loves his sponsors, so he can get sponsors in for esports. Get $1 million cash prize for something like a Evo. Just do your own little Evo night and have a 1-night tournament. I don't know. They can find a way to do it. Get all these teams in house. Hey, you got a couple League of Legends teams up for best team. Have them go against each other for entertainment purposes.
What do you think about Sifu being nominated for fighting game of the year?
I don't know how it can be in 2 completely different genres when it's not a fighting game, and there's 3 other fighting games that could have got nominated but didn't. Now I understand why they didn't, because as we just kind of explained, it seems like they only play PlayStation for the most part. And for those who don't know, someone said, "Oh, that's not true because they're big outlets. They can get review copies of everything." You're right, they can. It doesn't mean they are. When companies reach out to you or you reach out to them for review copies, they ask you what platform you want. So the outlet chooses what platform they play on, not the company, usually. So they're choosing PlayStation. You can just see that in the reviews. They're choosing PlayStation. PlayStation, if there's a multi-platform game, PlayStation has the most reviews.
Most of the time.
Most of the time,
pretty much almost all the time.
Yeah, pretty much all the time. There's some exceptions, indie games and certain stuff like that. You'll see like a Neon White getting a hell of a lot more reviews on Switch than other platforms. And talk about Neon White, man. I'm talking about indie.
That game got screwed.
Yeah, that game got snubbed like hell. Worse than any Nintendo game. I would argue.
It's a 90 must-play Metacritic, and it got beat up by 4-hour cat game.
Because nobody played it.
And
none of these people played it. I think when they were like, oh, indie games, best indie game. Well, let me just go look up highest reviewed indie games of the year. Oh, what's this Neon White? No, we better throw this in the list.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they do for Nintendo games. They say they play their games that they like, and then when it comes like, oh snap, we got to think about Nintendo. They look up the highest reviewed stuff and say, okay, 1 nomination, Triangle Strategy. There you go. That's one of the best. Kirby,
yeah. Dude,
go.
I can't imagine what happened with the RPG category. They're all probably like, okay, so Elden Ring, and then what else, guys?
Yeah.
I don't know. We better Google search RPGs released in 2022.
So search up Switch
they're
RPGs.
all on Switch. So yeah, I guess in order of review scores, let's
Yeah, I mean that's definitely how it happened, man. I mean, that's why I think that's why Xenoblade or even Nintendo games aren't nominated. Like even like Dread last year, it was barely nominated. It was nominated for two things.
I honestly think the reason that Xenoblade got in to Game of the Year is because when outlets were deciding the RPG category, they realized, holy shit, this thing's got 100+ reviews and it's 89.
Yeah.
Like if we don't put this in there, we're gonna get yelled at. This is one of the highest review games of the year. Yeah, and you didn't play it, did you?
You know they wanted to add Gran Turismo in there.
Oh my god! Bad. I'm surprised. I'm surprised they didn't want to slip Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in. Which, by the way, it's actually one of the better Call of Duties recently.
Like graphics and Sony, like something so bad. Like, oh snap! Hold up, we can't do that.
We got an 82 overall of Plague Tale Requiem in there. We can't blink Nintendo.
Yeah, I knew Plague Tale was going to get in.
It's a darling.
Just because. It's just one of those games. It felt to me like Control. When people played it, it's like it reviewed okay, didn't review super high, but it's something a bit different.
Yeah,
and it has some really strong narrative and leads.
Yeah, I had no problem with it being up for best narrative either. I was totally fine with that.
Like, so I felt that it was going to be Plague's Tale was going to get in, not because it's one of the best games of the year, because I don't think it is.
No, it's not.
But I think that because of the stuff that it does in the game, because of the graphics are incredible, and also the narrative and the story is really good. It pushes things forward a little bit with that. It's a really good game. It's a really good narrative and story and everything. So I think that that's the reason why they wanted to, like I said, the control. I call it the control clause. I think that's the thing. The control. It's like. the game comes out and it's like low 80s. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
It's an okay game. You don't think game of the year, but then at the end of the
Sure.
year, it's like, oh, we got to get really artsy. We got to get really artsy and really, you know. And this is the game. This is the control pick.
Yeah.
You got to have at least one control pick every year.
So I did some extra research that I was going to throw into the video if I didn't do the cut together like I did, because I made a point in my live stream that I find it strange how there's basically 3 essential PlayStation exclusive games with 20 plus award nominations, whereas Nintendo as a platform has 5 85 plus rated games and only has 10 total nominations, which makes 0 sense because it means that the platform that actually had the highest quality games consistently all year got beat out by 3 games, one of them being an indie for PlayStation. It just felt kind of weird to me. So I did some research and I found out that of the top 20 non-indie games, so not counting indie, reviewed this year, well, 7 of them are Switch exclusives. And yet we only have 10 nominations total, which makes no sense to me. So they had almost half of the highest rated games of the year. And the Game Awards to me, and I understand the bias, I understand it's the Jeff Keighley show, and there's going to be other games. To me, like the Game Developer Conference is probably the best award show that nobody really pays attention to because it's actually voted on by the people in the industry. You know, the people that, they're going to be biased too. We're all going to be biased, but at least they're people that make the games. And they're only going to vote on the stuff they played, and it is what it is. And I think there's a lot of honor in there. You know, if you win Game of the Year in the Game Developers Conference, I think that means a lot to the people who win that because you were voted by your peers. But it's interesting because I think there is a certain audience that Jeff Keighley's playing into, and the
what audience is that?
You're trying to get me to say it. I'm trying not to be too mean to Jeff Keighley over here. Let's just say the audience where people consistently look at certain platforms as that is the hip, cool thing. And that's what we're going to PlayState to.
Okay. So what do you say to the people that are like, these are just 2 Nintendo fanboys that are just butthurt, salty that their platform doesn't play games as good as my platform?
I will say, what does that have to do with the quality of the games we're playing? Oh, but the visuals. Okay, what about the gameplay? Do you know anything about the story? Do you know anything about the gameplay? Can you tell me how Mario plus Rabbids plays? Did you even know it's a tactical strategy game? No, you
What's
probably...
Mario plus Rabbids?
Sparks of hope. Dude, it's funny. 2 people, there's 2 people on Twitter today. It says something like, LOL, look at the crappy visuals of Xenoblade. It shouldn't even be up there. And my only response is, did you play the game? And when they said no, I said, well, then why does your opinion matter?
Their opinion doesn't matter.
But I mean, but that's the way people go. Like they're saying that about us, quote unquote, Nintendo channels because, you know, oh, you're going to have your bias for Nintendo. That's cool. But I also played these other games that were nominated. I played Stray. It's fine. It's okay. It's 4 hours of my life I'll never get back. Admittedly, I don't like cats. So for people who like cats, it's probably a bit of a cooler experience. But also, I played all these other games, and I just know they're better. And now, look, it's subjective for me to say that, but you can't tell me they're not if you haven't played them yourself. You're just dismissing them because, Switch is a kid platform, apparently. Nintendo's actual age numbers be damned because, all kids are just going to say they're over 18. I'm sure they're all going to say that they're 23 and 45 and 50. Whatever, man. Switch's audience is all kids. That's what they tell me.
Yeah. Well, I think I've had enough of the stupid Game Awards.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I don't think we really disagree on much. There's a couple points that I saw that you made in your stream that I totally agree. Like, I was being a bit hyperbolic, obviously. Hyperbole. It was...
Was I actually serious when I said I don't think I was serious?
No, you said something like because I was bringing up like the number of nominations and stuff like that, and you were just like, well, some games could be like low rated but be really good in a certain category, and I'm like,
I think I was just saying stuff. I don't even remember what I said.
Yeah, and it was just something I totally agree with that. I was just kind of making an emphasis of having 5 85 plus rated games and somehow 3 PlayStation games. One of them
I
that's
like to
83.
drink a lot of wine before the stream. So I sometimes, honestly, like how I cope with things these days
Yeah.
is a few beforehand.
A few beforehand. Yeah, I don't blame me. I usually have a few during, but
Yeah,
right
I
now.
know during now too. People say, OJ, you drink this. I'm like, damn right. You
Yeah.
think being a content creator is fun?
Oh man, dude, we did my podcast last night, and my co-host Eric comes over and he's like, "Hey man, guess what I found over in this one place in Minnesota, dude? I brought you a 32 pack of hard Mountain Dew." I'm like, "Well, all right, I guess that's what I'm drinking on stream now for like the next few weeks."
Shoot, I need to go refill. Like people say, yo, OJ, I didn't know you drink.
I got
I'm like,
my shots are always at the ready.
Health, it's my mental health deteriorating.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's going on. If you see me drinking on stream, it's because I've had a day.
Oh yeah, and like guys, it all adds up too. Like your parents, you're dealing with the internet sometimes. Just life in general. You know, sometimes it just kicks your ass, and you just have one of those days. And you know, with me, I got 3 kids, so like I have one of those days a lot more often than maybe some other people. But it's okay. No, nothing against my kids. It's all right if you got to end your day with a few drinks. That's cool. I always have my shots at the ready. People know. You know, they drop like a $20 super chat, and I'm like, all right, guys. Well, you know what that means? I'm having some tequila because it's just time.
Yeah, I agree, man. I used to take it all like super uptight but serious, but now it's just like, bro, nah, man.
Brian C, thanks for the $2. I'm not going to shotgun a hard Mountain Dew for $2. Sorry, I don't mean to put a price on it, but that's a little
shotgun something.
Yeah, I'll chug one down here in a little bit. All right, guys, don't worry about it. That'll be my next drink. I'm almost done with this one. I'll grab one of the hard ones. Anyways, all right. So enough of the Game Awards stuff, because the Game Awards, I don't know. I actually enjoy the Game Awards most of the time, if you just ignore the ads. But it's whatever.
We can move on to the next topic. I got another thing that I want to discuss with you. The Switch Pro narrative. Did you see? Oh man, this was great. Did you see Switch Force? His video?
The one that he said about RGT?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched I watched 3/4 of it, and I couldn't believe I made it that far. But
I was laughing. The shout outs to RGT, shout outs to Switch Force. Those are like my two favorite guys. Two of the favorite guys. So anyway, Switch Pro narrative. RGT made a video responding to it. I think it's hilarious.
Oh, did RGT respond? I didn't watch his response.
Oh yeah. I'll
have to watch it after we're done.
He responded. he kind of like semi-responded. It was like hey, I want to talk about all of this surrounding.
Oh, let's talk about all that controversy. There it is. Yeah, I see the video. Yeah, I'll have to watch it later.
Yeah. He wants to talk about all that, and I find it fascinating. You know, the only thing that I'd say is this. This is the only thing that I say. I say that everyone's allowed to have their opinion. Right?
Absolutely.
Everyone's allowed. The only issue is that when you start making the same points as Super Metal Dave, that's when I'm like, okay, hold up.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I'm uncomfortable.
Look. I'm pretty good friends with Super. Yeah. No, because like I'm friends with Super Metal Dave, but he knows. He knows.
You start making the same points.
He knows, and I talked to him behind, like Super Metal Dave behind the scenes. There's a few times that he says some things, and the way he analyzes things that are just a little wild.
So just a little. No, shout out to big love to Dave, big love to RGT, big love to,
and by the way,
to Switch Force.
just to give something positive for Super Metal Dave, he's actually really on top of like all the hiring posts at Retro Studios. So he's really cool if you want to follow that and maybe find a smidge of updates on Metroid Prime 4 here and there.
Yeah, so Switch Pro stuff. Switch Pro coming January 2023, Prime?
No.
Do you think Switch needs a Switch Pro right now?
I mean, no, it's projected to sell 19 million this fiscal year. That's not a need.
No, but
it could be a high want, a desire.
We're not part of Nintendo, so we don't.
Well, it's all about like, look. If Nintendo wants to do what no company's ever been able to do and maintain 20 million in system sales every single year, then absolutely they're going to have to release a Pro. It's the only shot they got to get 20 million next year. But also, I don't think that they look at 20 million as this bar they want to stay above, considering that nobody, like the peak years of PlayStation 4 were 19 million. I just don't think Nintendo is looking at 20 million as a bar they need to cross. I think, I'm not saying that we can't get new hardware next year. It's absolutely possible, and it might even be in the plans. Like if they're going to release an upgraded Switch model and they want Switch to go another 3 years, sure. They could drop one next year and ride the Switch wave for another few years and call it a day. I don't know what Nintendo's going to do. But I think that what happens is obviously we're starting to get to the point now where the current generation of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series are starting to get some of their more serious games coming out. Not technically yet fully exclusive games, but those are coming. And Switch feels long in the tooth for some. When you get Bayonetta 3, and some people are not liking the frame rate drops during some of the combat, it makes them go, well, that's because of Switch. And it very well might be. I mean, I think there's a little bit of I don't buy excuses for frame rate drops when you're an exclusive game because you literally are being made for one piece of hardware. But sure. I'll give Platinum, I guess, a little benefit of the doubt. They didn't seem to have this problem with Astral Chain, but different gameplay style.
That game's 30 frames. That game doesn't target 60.
Yeah. It's 30 frames. And I know Bayonetta obviously is trying to target 60. Rarely really gets there. But and maybe if they would have locked it to 30, maybe it would have felt better. Maybe it would have felt worse. I have no idea. I know there's some people that have done some modifications and experimented with that. But that's like the only one that I really see, though, that I go, okay, you could maybe argue a more powerful Switch would maybe help that out because they want more power when they're making that game. But, like, the Pokemon stuff today, Switch Pro instantly goes trending when the reviews drop because of all the performance issues.
So you're trying to tell me that the Switch Pro, like, if we didn't have Switch Pro, Game Freak would have made a perfect game. Everything would have been completely perfect on some type of imaginary Switch Pro. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it would have been trash on Switch Pro as well. And by the way, I'm not saying the game is trash. The performance. Now, it is possible, and I noted this on my Discord server to someone, that, look, if a Switch Pro is dropping around Zelda, which I don't think it is, but let's presume what everyone wants to happen, or a lot of people want to happen, is have an upgraded Switch drop around Tears of the Kingdom, that maybe they developed this game for that platform, and then it comes out and magically it runs perfect, which I've never known a Game Freak game to run perfect, but maybe that's a magical world that exists, and so the problem is that system's just not out yet, and they said screw the normal Switch, with 114 million units out there because, that's where most people are going to buy your game. It's whatever. Look, I made a video on this today about I don't buy the Pokemon narrative stuff that people are bringing up to make Switch Pro trend. I think it's BS. Game Freak is known to have performance issues with their games. This is their first time making an open world game. They didn't have 5-6 years like the Zelda team did to do it. And yeah, it's either it's either poorly optimized, which is possible, or the engine they're using is not intended to be used for this type of game. Either way, there's nothing happening in that game that Switch can't run a hell of a lot better. Because we've already seen it. We've already seen it. I mean, a Wii U game in Breath of the Wild runs better. It's just made by a better team. But it was given the time to do it right.
Isn't Wii U stronger than Switch?
No. I love the trolling. It's fun. That's what. Hey, listen to Twitter. Wii U was stronger than Switch. I mean, it's not even close. Because it's really not. But
I find it interesting that that's the case. I think that people feel that way because they feel that you can brute force your way just to better performance, I guess, with Game Freak. Like, they're so bad that they need something that's just so much better.
Yeah, and because people do it with emulation with it, right? Like, they do it with a way more powerful PC, and it's like, well, yeah, of course, there's a certain point that you can brute force almost any game to be better, but it shouldn't need to. Like, there's not really a need. Like, there's nothing happening in Scarlet and Violet that needs more power than what the Switch has. It just needs either more time to develop it, which that's more on the Pokemon company than Game Freak, or it just needs better developers. Maybe Game Freak just isn't good enough. I mean, this is the first time they've done an open world game too, so you can consider that. And people go, someone told me that, yeah, well, it was the first time the Zelda team, the modern Zelda team did one, and I'm like, yeah, but they were given like 6 years, almost 6 years.
They were given a long time, and they also had Monolith Soft helping out, which had already made a quasi open world game with Xenoblade.
Yeah, and I noted that maybe there's something where Game Freak should have reached out to Nintendo and maybe see if they had Monolith Software to the Zelda team, they could spare a few people to help them figure some stuff out. But
no,
they don't reach.
They stay busy.
Yeah, and Monolith Soft is. God, I don't even want to get into that. Their hands are in a lot of games at Nintendo right now.
Yeah, their hands are. I mean, they helped out with Splatoon. They helped out with Splatoon, Zelda, their own game, Definitive Edition. At one point, it was Splatoon 3, Zelda, Definitive Edition, Torna, and like Xenoblade 3. Like they have multiple studios. Like, but at one point they literally was like working on like 5 or 6, and plus their other game. So it's like 5 or 6 different games, like all like being planned and developed all at like one time.
So the issue with Scarlet Violet for me, and why I don't think Switch Pro is the answer to all this stuff, is I think it starts with one of two things. The Pokemon Company has to care, or Nintendo has to care for the Pokemon Company. Because Nintendo would never allow an internally developed game to release that's got this kind of performance problems throughout the entire game. Some performance issues somewhere, sure. People, Breath of the Wild, yeah, in 2 areas of the game there was FPS issues. It wasn't running around in the world. That was never a problem. And then here we are sitting here and like you throw a Pokeball and then the game stops and then juts forward like 10 frames. Like that's like not okay. Nintendo would never be okay with that if this was internally developed. But it's not. And the Pokemon Company has shown over the years, they don't care. Just buy it. As long as you buy it, we're not worried about it. And that kind of sucks because you can care and still sell a lot of copies. We see that with a lot of Nintendo games. Like, hey, Xenoblade, fastest selling game, and Monolith Soft clearly cared about the quality of that game.
They also got like 10 years to make that game.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say quite 10. I mean, Xenoblade 2 came out in 2017, but they still got a hell of a lot more time than Pokemon did.
You know, they were making Xenoblade 3 as maybe even before they were planning. Xenoblade 2 was made by Side Team.
Yeah.
And then also another team was doing Torna, even smaller team, and then another team was doing like Takahashi, and a lot of the main staffers were helping out with Definitive Edition. Like that game was harder to do than they thought that it was going to. It took them a little bit of time to get that game done.
Meanwhile, they had parts of their teams helping with
so that they were doing that, and then from there they focused everything. After they were done with that, they focused everything on Xenoblade Chronicles 3. But they've been developing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for like damn near the whole life of the Switch.
Yeah.
So and they got a lot of time to do that.
And that's the thing. And until the Pokemon Company decides to care about the quality of the games, and they want to keep crapping out game every year, every other year, it's just never going to be. You can never blame the platform when the developers aren't being given the time to really do it right. And they're not willing to reach out to Nintendo and ask them for any sort of help. Nintendo's got oodles of development teams. You know, they know that Pokemon's going to make them a lot of money. Nintendo would probably be willing to help out if they would just ask. But they don't. And Nintendo's not going to complain as long as the check clears. So it sucks, but it is what it is. Like look, I know a lot of RGT's points with the Switch Pro, and I brought this up as well when we had that interesting week when we had PlayStation 5 beat out the Switch in Japan for 1 week, barely, and then obviously the October MPD results.
Because I think a terrible point.
Yeah, it was the same week.
Tell them that was a terrible point.
Yeah, it was the same week, and I mentioned something about like, hey, you know, I've been talking about some stuff related to this. This is kind of interesting, but we need to monitor this. You know, it has to keep sinking for this to really matter. And then the next week it bounced back with 90,000 sales in Japan. It's whatever.
The reason why I had an issue with it is because it was based off of incomplete analysis. If you follow anybody in Japan, mainly my man Genki, it wasn't widely reported. So that's the reason why it's like, hey, it's okay. But Genki was showing pictures of Switch just not even being in stock. At multiple different
it's
stores.
Almost like it only gets reported when they're doing the what is it, the lotteries. That's like the only time it gets reported that they're sold out.
Yeah, and even like another thing that I think people were saying is like, oh well, if you go on to Amazon Japan you can see it, but it was through third-party sellers. Like if you use Google Translate, everything ain't gonna come out the same way. So it wasn't even like it was available readily, like all the different models and everything on Amazon, you know. So I think that was my issue, is like, I don't want data to be manipulated to try to, like, if you want Switch Pro, that's fine. You can have Switch Pro. But like when we start manipulating data to make it seem like, oh, this is dwindling in terms of in Japan, that's one of their areas that they've dominated. And all of a sudden it got outsold. It's like, okay.
Yep.
Like, listen, this is ridiculous.
I'm first to raise my hand and say I made a little bit of this backseat analysis myself. And people were giving me hell for it. I said it in a couple of videos in a live stream and a couple of tweets on Twitter. And hey, I rightfully got flack, which led to me making a video later where I said, hey, we don't need, like Nintendo doesn't need, we don't need a Switch Pro or a Switch 2 next year. We want. And then I went into all the actual data that kind of shows, hey, look, 19 million still projected. They're behind in the MPD reports. Like, who cares? They got behind during months when they didn't when other platforms had huge sellers. People bring up, Xbox didn't. I'm like, Xbox's biggest games that sell are third party, and there were 2 massive third party games that came out that month. In addition to obviously Sony having their big games come out. So it's like, hey, Nintendo had Sparks of Hope and Triangle Strategy or something like that. It was
and for MPD?
in October.
No, not Triangle. That came out in March.
Yeah, that was March.
They had Bayonetta.
Bayonetta, that's right. And those are not look, Mario plus Rabbids could end up selling 10 million, but that's because it's evergreen. It doesn't. The first one didn't blow up right away. It sold over time. So I don't know, man. It's like just because Nintendo had a couple exclusives come out, those weren't big names. It wasn't Pokemon. It wasn't even Xenoblade.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
That's the Super Metal Dave point. Like he was like, oh well, with those games, you would think it's like, do you guys not?
Bayonetta is so niche.
Since when is Mario plus Rabbids and Bayonetta some type of system seller?
No.
People are gonna rush out and go buy. Like I don't
Pokemon
understand this logic. Like, they had, so what if they had games like Call of Duty's like a bazillion times bigger. The third party games that drop are a billion times bigger, and Game Pass is a million times bigger. It's a bigger system. Game Pass is a bigger system seller than huge. Bayonetta 3.
And it's getting some of these big third party games day one. I know because I have it. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, like I didn't, and like that like with Game Pass and third party games, like that is data that is out there. Like that is very easily, like I don't understand how it's used in points against something when it's very clear that Xbox this whole time, this whole generation, Xbox has been selling on the power of Game Pass and third party games. If you base it off of no releases, Xbox should never sell. Why is it always like, why are they having stock issues and all that with Xbox? The people that want Xbox still haven't been able to get all the demand, because, and the reason why I know this is because I still have problems, not only just seeing an Xbox Series X, it's not always in stock everywhere. And we look at the numbers, they don't have to ship as much to Japan as they do America. And they still can't keep the numbers up like a lot, like more than Microsoft or more than Sony.
Like the Series X is not readily available all the time. Is it impossible? Like if you're going to watch like a Hawk, you can get one. But it's not. It's not like you can't just walk in a store any random day and find it. The Series S, sure.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, after this holiday season, I don't think you'll be able to get any of the systems. I think they're all going to sell out. But,
so I mean, my issue is that just because Microsoft finally gets some better stock, because I think Microsoft also had a better stock drop.
Yes,
as we saw in Japan, system only sold like 700 units this past week. So clearly shipments weren't going to Japan, recently.
Oh yeah, plus I don't think demand in Japan is very high either, so.
Yeah. The demand isn't very high, but based off of Game Pass and what they've done, they can sell 1,000 units plus a week in Japan. I think they can. So it was way down this past week, and it's been very spotty. They're very careful on when they actually ship and put things out in Japan. But I think that right now they want everything to be in the US and in Europe, especially in the US for the holiday season with Call of Duty and with these big games dropping. So to me, it makes sense that PlayStation 5 and Xbox, 2 systems that have been supply strapped for the past 2 years, get big third-party games that drop. Yeah, they're going to do better than the system that's been out for that. But it's just a positional chart. We have no idea how much one sold than the other, from what I understand.
The way I also
we don't know how much
as,
one did better. So.
Because the MPD doesn't give exact numbers anymore. Every now and then they'll give like a percent, and then you can like go back in the charts and try to figure it out. But from back when they used to give numbers, but it's very difficult unless they do that. What's interesting to me is another thing that needs to be considered is, okay, PlayStation 5 and Xbox are still on their upswing. They're in their early days. They haven't hit their peak years yet. They're on the upswing. They got most of their best games and best sales numbers are ahead of them. Switch peaked in 2020. COVID obviously helped. Animal Crossing obviously helped. And yeah, it's going to be declining sales since then. One, because that was an insane peak year, just absolutely barely ever unheard of. I think DS topped it. Was like the only thing I saw out there that had a better peak year. So yeah, Switch is technically a bit on the downswing or the backswing, whatever you want to call it. Where yeah, it's going to be selling. It should be selling a little bit less every year. There's 114 million of them out there already. You know, you're reaching the point of market saturation where sales are going to slow down, but they're still high enough that there's not really a need to rush something out there. I think people just want a Switch Pro to come out. And I love new hardware. And yeah, when we hit March 4th, it's going to be the start of the 7th year. Sweet.
Yeah.
I'll gladly take new hardware. It's normal for us to get new hardware around this time.
I want new hardware too. I'd buy it like
Dude, I'd be there day one.
Switches that aren't new hardware.
Right.
Like that are just a different Switch.
They give me a Zelda edition. I'm buying it. It's happening.
Yeah. People think I'm against it because I'll say this or I'm defense force, and it's like, nah, man, like that ain't it. I'd buy a new one if it was there. Well, I just don't want the manipulation of data or say us to start nitpicking 1 week or 1 month or one thing, because then if it reverses, then what? Like, so 38K 1 week, nobody wanted a Switch, demand's dropping, all of a sudden 90 something K. Well, dude, I guess people changed their mind really fast. And then this past week, 97K. What happened? I thought nobody wanted it that 1 week.
I thought we're done.
Why are we? Now
It's because Pokemon's coming out, so people are starting to buy it in anticipation of. So they weren't 3 weeks ago, but they were 2 weeks ago.
And I get that, but it just seems to me like that's kind of how things always work. Like you have, especially Nintendo stated that there are shortages, which they're going through as well, unless people think that Nintendo's lying to their investors, so it's whatever. But like there are shortages, and we saw that in Japan. Like I Genki reported on it, so I was like, okay, well, you know, when I said that, hey, dude, there's shortages and it's not being sold everywhere, people say you're lying, you're this, you're just defending. I'm like, all right,
I got proven wrong on that too. Like I thought maybe there was some stock because I talked to a couple people that, I walked in and bought one. It's like, okay, cool. Well, I guess that's doing fine. And then hey, I got proven wrong, and that's cool, man. I'll eat crow.
Yeah.
When the facts are there, the facts are there. I'm not here to argue against facts. You know?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, we just need to we need to look at it from like all angles, especially like with Pokemon coming out. I think it's weird to say the demand is dropping and then Pokemon's coming out and then you're seeing sales hit 90 something K, 97K. It's probably going to be over 100K. When Splatoon dropped, that was just September. So it was well over 100. I think it did like 160K or something like that. It did something crazy, huge number when Splatoon dropped. You know, so like when big system sellers drop, you know, people are gonna go out there and buy it.
I think
like,
Splatoon 3 was almost. I think it was
systems.
190 something K that week when Splatoon 3 dropped. And Splatoon 3 sold like 2. Yeah, and Splatoon 3 sold like 2 million in its opening weekend. It's insane.
Oh, I didn't know. Well, either way,
but
like,
either
I'm
way,
gonna get better at.
But it's also like I always why I examine sales data so much. I have no idea. It's completely irrelevant for the most part. As long as the things that I want to be successful are successful, so I get more of them. I guess I'm good.
Well, I mean, we don't see that in the Wii U era though.
No, well,
sales were not very good. Things didn't work out.
And we didn't get more of the things I like. So that's that sucked. I honestly thought for a brief moment we would never get another Xenoblade game after X bombed, but I'm so glad.
You know what? Nintendo actually put out a graph about X in terms of its sales. It's right at about 1 million, little bit under,
which isn't bad for Wii U. Actually, it's pretty good for Wii U.
That's actually pretty. I'll say for Wii U, the fact that the system only sold 14 million, about 14 million.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 13 and a half or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. The numbers are on Nintendo's website. Yeah.
So yeah.
It's man, look, Switch is fine. I get the desires for more powerful hardware. I have them. I'm a tech enthusiast. I get it. I want more powerful hardware. Cool, man. I would love to play Tears of the Kingdom at 60 FPS with 4K upscaling. That would be sweet. I'm not going to sit there and say that wouldn't be sweet, but I'll probably still enjoy the game just fine at the 900p it's going to run at and 30 FPS. Like either way, I'm going to enjoy the game. I think, you know, another thing that happened this year that I know maybe has started making at least the internet act all crazy. I haven't heard anyone in out in the actual real world that isn't online say anything about it. But like Steam Deck came out and now it's caught up to its pre-order demands, and I can just readily buy one. And people just, hey, Steam Deck, it's only $50 more than the OLED, and it's X amount more powerful, and they'll have a new one in a couple years, and blah blah blah. And I just sat there, I'm like, that's cool. Well, the total sales of Steam Deck can't even pass a single month of sales for Nintendo. So I'm don't really think Nintendo's sweating it too much, but I understand the desire because now people have a alternative, popular, semi-popular anyways, option to now play games portably. That is more powerful. And I kind of like having a little bit of competition in the space, but I get it. People know there's better technology out there, and they want Nintendo to embrace it, and they want Nintendo to do more. And I think people feel like Nintendo likes to ride on old tech for too long.
Yeah, no, I feel that too. But the one thing that I'll say here too is that, like, I don't think people realize how important it is for Nintendo to actually have all their, what is it, ducks in a line, ducks in a row.
Yes.
Ducks in a. It's very important for them to launch with games and a consistent flow. And also it's very important for the system to be up to snuff, like features and things. If you try to say we need it, and they don't get everything ready, they're going to launch it before it needs to be launched, and it's going to run into problems. I don't care what anybody says, it's going to run into problems. So I rather them wait and make sure everything is in line than sit there and say, let's just get something out. I think that we already know Nintendo's working on next-gen hardware. Like, they've been working on their next-gen hardware. We already know that their developers, pretty much everybody has moved over. I don't think there's any developers left outside of the last row, like Fire Emblem, Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin, maybe a Donkey Kong game, maybe something else, but there really
maybe
isn't
Metroid Prime 4 if we get lucky.
What'd you say? Oh, Metroid?
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 if we get lucky.
I think that's going to be a dual release, but
yeah, I'm kind of getting the feeling they'll just push it at this point to whenever.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm like. I think
maybe
that
a new Mario, because we haven't had one since 2017. But then that could also be a launch game for the next, like a new Mario game.
Yeah, I think a new Mario game is already that's the next Switch.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I kind of feel like they will use that to
Switch
launch, because if they're going to launch Zelda now, then yeah, they're going to want Mario for the next one.
Yeah, or like
unless they have
Mario
Mario
Kart.
Kart. Yeah, Mario Kart.
Next Switch or something. So that's something that's so their teams are already working on the next thing. But they're waiting for the right like when all the games are done, and also the system itself, because I'm guessing that the system is going to be, they're going to evolve quite a number of things. The price, everything needs to be right. The marketing, everything needs to line up. So to me, rushing out something because of Pokemon, because you think it would have done better. I mean, we needed that system. If they're going to use it, we needed that system last year or the year before. Switch Pro or whatever that needed to be a couple years ago, not now. And at this point, it's already next gen time.
I kind of think the only reason that they would do a Pro is if it basically at this point was essentially the next gen, but they're not calling it that, and they just leave things cross gen for a couple years before slowly you start to realize, hey, these games are no longer compatible, these new ones, with the old. It's because the new one is the new one.
Phase out.
Yeah, the phase out.
Game Boy
Color, exactly. Yeah, phase and Nintendo's done it before. You just reference that could be in the cards. They could do a phase out and still keep everything on both systems for the next couple of years, and that might even be a smart thing to do depending on how they handle it. Because I guess I think it was Emily Rogers. I think she's officially retired now from leaking things, but she said something about how Nintendo's sitting on a dozen games, they're just sitting there. That are already done. Some of them being remasters, some of them being new stuff. And you wonder why. Well, why are they doing that? Why would they sit on stuff? Well, one, they already had quite a few. You guys realize how many Switch exclusives came out this year? It was a pretty packed year.
It was a lot.
So you're not going to keep pushing things out this year. And then they're going to need stuff for next year and the year after. And also, hey, maybe they decided some of these games we need to kind of push for the next thing. And if you guys think about it, they probably feel like, because Nintendo just had this happen. You guys remember the first 9 months of the Switch launch? was pretty nice that Nintendo had all those games and all their ducks in a row for that period.
Yeah.
Like it was like if this game didn't push it, this game will. If this game doesn't, this game will. Like we've got Zelda, we've got Mario Kart, we've got Splatoon, we've got Mario plus Rabbids, we got what was it, Fire Emblem? No, it was Xenoblade, and then we got Mario.
Fire Emblem Warriors.
Yeah,
was
Warriors.
Year,
yeah.
At the end of the year, right next to Mario.
Yeah. But like they had so many, and it's like Nintendo knew they packed it on purpose. Wii U tanked, and they're like, hey, if we're gonna, basically Nintendo was saying, if we're gonna fail as a platform again, two straight generations, we're gonna fail on the back of us releasing a shit ton of games. And it worked. Now, in hindsight, did they need to release all of them in that year? Well, no. I mean, I didn't think they knew at the time Mario Kart was going to blow up like it did as just a port. I didn't think they knew that Zelda was going to sell 25 million copies. So like in hindsight, they probably could have spread it out a bit more, and maybe pushed Mario to the next year. But hey, they did what they did, and I feel like they look at that as a recipe for success. They want to start it with a big game. 9 months later, have another big game in between. Have another big game in the middle, and then have a bunch of middling games in between, so people always feel like there's something new and fresh to talk about with our brand new system.
A person from the comment section says that they feel that Splatoon 3 should have been held back for Switch 2, and I really disagree with that. And the reason why I disagree with that, I think Splatoon's one of those games that whenever you do the next Switch, you can just easily, that game will be backwards compatible and they can just update things. I don't really think that that's something that you need to hold back and put it on something else.
And you can give it second life by even like if there's 4K upscaling, you can say, hey, now we have a 4K upscaling update for this.
Yeah.
And we're starting a whole new round, another DLC pack coming for $30. And we're going to start up a whole new thing of Splatfest and new weapons. And they can just keep that thing going. Like it's an online multiplayer game. All you gotta do is add more content, keep it going.
Yeah, I think they're gonna keep Splatoon going even longer than what they did because they kept Splatoon 2 for 5 years.
I think Splatoon 3 might end up going maybe 7, depending on when the next system comes out. Like they might just say, hey, we can just keep this going. There's no point not to. Mario Kart's the one that I think once they're done with the DLC, I think they're kind of done. I would be like Smash is another one.
We need a new Mario Kart. I don't care how I get it.
Yeah.
I just want. I can't even play Mario Kart 8. Even with the new
live home circuit didn't do it for you.
That's the real Mario Kart.
To be fair, live home circuit's fun, guys. It really, if you guys haven't ever played it and made your own Mario Kart courses and stuff, it is fun. But like to have the most fun with it, you need like a bunch of people with Switches and with carts, and it's just good luck finding people that have it.
Yeah,
but it's also not the same. Like obviously, you got to mess up your house and do whatever. Like it's a fun game, but it's not normal Mario Kart.
You got to do all sorts of stuff with.
It's a lot of work.
It is what it is. All right. Well, okay. I guess we can take some questions.
Sure.
And then we can wrap it up. If you guys have questions, you guys can tag me in the chat or Nintendo Prime's chat. You guys can tag him and we can kind of alternate with questions or go back and forth if you see some good ones, Prime. So
absolutely, I got both chats open.
Wait, who's winning the game? That's what I want to know. That's my first question.
Titans are ahead. They were up 29, but the Packers just scored a touchdown. So
okay. So 20-17, third quarter.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's a tight game.
That kid Watson, man, he's gonna gonna be pretty good.
Yeah. So people mentioned like oh, he finally had his breakout game, and I'm like, people don't really watch the Packers. Watson has been hurt the entire season. That was the first game he actually played start to finish.
Yeah, he's tall and fast. Like, he's really fast. He's like a 4.3 guy, isn't he?
He ran a 4.34, and he's 6'4". So last week was all speed, right? Everyone saw his speed.
How did he not go in the first round at 6'4"? 4.3, you're done.
He had a bit of drop-itis in college, and we've seen that in the pros. Because last week on the first drive he had 2 drops, but then Rodgers
I don't care if you
came on the sideline and said, "I'm coming back to you because you're wide open."
If you're 6'4" and run a 4.3, I don't care if you drop the ball. We're gonna teach you how to catch.
Yeah, I know. Like, and the thing is, like, his hands are so bad. Well, today on the Packers' first touchdown drive, Rodgers caught him with like 12 guys on the field, and he just chucked one up one-on-one to him in the end zone. He just out-jumped the guy and caught it. And I'm like, his hands look really bad right there.
Yeah.
He's
good with the jump ball. I think it's obviously catching a jump ball is a bit easier.
Well, and he's huge. When you're 6'4", there ain't any corners that are going to out-jump you.
Who's your starter going to be in Scarlet and Violet, Prime?
Quaxley.
Oh, they're going with the duck.
Yeah, I'm going with the duck. Mighty Ducks, baby.
Going with the duck. Yuji Naka leaking the Switch Pro. I'm going with Quaxley as well. I'm going with Quaxley.
I just like his design, and I kind of like his attitude that he's shown so far. I
Yeah, he's
understand
swaggy.
there's a lot more information out there about it now, but I really don't care.
Do you have anybody that has a question in your chat or?
Yeah, we got Nishik Pop said Mario movie trailer or Tears of the Kingdom trailer at the Game Awards in December. What do you think?
I'll take a Tears of the Kingdom trailer for me personally.
I mean, look. We know there was a rating for the Mario movie trailer. Like, there is some new trailer ready. If they don't show it before the Game Awards, I kind of think it'll be there. Because there's a huge audience, and I can see Nintendo wanting to take advantage of that worldwide audience for Mario. Tears of the Kingdom, I think, is interesting. They're going to start the advertising train for this eventually because we have an exact date, and it's their next major. Like, I know Fire Emblem Engage is coming out, but like in terms of like a system seller, that's their next big system seller coming. I had this theory because everyone who's going to win an award at the Game Awards already knows it before the Game Awards starts. So if Tears of the Kingdom is going to win most anticipated game, I think Doug Bowser goes up on stage, collects their award, and then they present a trailer.
Oh,
If it doesn't win most anticipated game, then I'm not so sure that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be there. They might just wait for the next direct and then start their hype train from there. But I have no idea. No clue. I think I always think Zelda, obviously Breath of the Wild had a massive history at the Game Awards. So it would be awesome if like they would keep that tradition going, but I don't know, man. Nothing with Nintendo has happened at the Game Awards since Reggie retired. Because Reggie was the one who was buddy-buddy with Jeff Keighley. So I don't know that Nintendo's going to do anything. But I would like to think that Nintendo's going to remind everyone, hey, while people are laughing at us and awarding, God of War and Horizon, let us tell you what the next game of the year is going to be. Maybe. I don't know if it will be. I'm biased for Zelda, so for me it's probably already
everyone's biased.
Yes.
Prince
are.
Goro asked about the next Switch. Is it going to be a hybrid or something completely different? I think it's going to be a hybrid. Personally.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get rid of that concept. It was so successful. I don't think it's ran its course yet.
Yeah. Deadlock says Nintendo Prime. How many Xbox exclusive games do you think they'll actually release next year?
Oh, well, 2 for sure. I think Starfield and Redfall will both make it.
Yeah. Sure, there's some other ones.
Yeah,
like
well, they bought so many studios. There's going to be some. There's going to be some other ones. Those are the 2 that I know they were pushing heavily. So look, I'm going to say 4. I think they'll have 4 spread throughout the year. That's a lot for Xbox, 4. By the way. That's a lot, That's a lot for Xbox.
That's nuts for Microsoft.
Yeah, that's insane. But they bought all these studios. I think they're getting ready.
Yeah, they're getting ready. They're getting ready for the drop. They're getting ready for it. Like
So Arctic on my side said, I think if the Switch gets a revision, is that the developers are going to be held back by the Switch and more of the future. Wait, let me read that. I think if the Switch well, that sentence is weird. Let me see if I can understand what you're saying. I think if the Switch revision is that the developers are going to be held back by the Switch and more of the future third-party games are going to be cloud only. So you're saying like, do we think that most of the third-party games in the future will be cloud only because they feel like the Switch holds them back? I mean, we're sort of seeing a transition to more cloud games on Switch.
Yeah, but it's still most of the people. Like most games still just don't come out on Switch.
Yeah,
some of them, we are seeing like cloud, but a lot of them just don't come out. And if Nintendo's doing like these developers have they have the dev kits. They know what the next system's going to be. They have it. I know that they have it. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that they have it or they're getting ready. I know that it's there. So they're just gonna hold things back for the next Switch. Probably they're just gonna either hold things back or they're just gonna release streaming or just not release it at all. Most third-party developers just don't release anything at all.
Yeah, I mean that's the reality is this entire generation Switch hasn't got most of the third-party games. That hasn't really changed, but they've just gotten a few big name ones. Obviously now that Bethesda's owned, I'm not so sure that we're going to see Doom and other stuff like that on Switch anymore. But I do think that we'll still get some. I think we're really a few months away from finding out that Hogwarts Legacy is going to be a cloud version. I feel like there's been hints towards it. They just haven't announced it because they don't want the negative feedback before the game releases on other platforms. I think that there will always be some companies that, like NBA 2K and stuff, that are going to keep releasing games on Switch because they feel like the audience is there and it'll sell enough copies to justify it, especially studios from Japan. I don't know that. I mean, there's going to be more cloud games. We're already seeing it. I do want to give one shout out for cloud gaming. Look, cloud games have a horrible reputation for a reason.
I don't.
They have a horrible reputation for a reason. I'm going to give one shout out for cloud gaming on Switch. I just want to make sure Capcom gets a little credit because Resident Evil Village actually runs.
Really?
It actually runs, yeah. And no one believes it because no one wants to try it. It actually works. And
it works
I think,
good.
Yeah, it works well. And I think the reason is, one, obviously Capcom and Nintendo are tight. And they also spent all those years experimenting with 7 in Japan. So I don't know what it is, but somehow they did what other cloud games have been unable to do on Switch, which also kind of proves to me that the Switch isn't the problem with the cloud games. It's the company's not giving a shit. But
Capcom for the win.
yeah, Capcom for the win. Just wanted to make sure. Capcom and Nintendo obviously are good partner companies anyways, but I actually tried it out and I was like, holy shit. I can't really tell much of a difference between this besides a little bit of latency compared to playing it on Xbox, but damn.
Have you played Chex Quest HD?
Oh my gosh, you're reading ePrimify's comments. No, I have actually never played Chex Quest of any kind. I think wasn't that like a free game that came in a cereal box a long time ago?
Have you played Zork HD?
Which one?
Is there multiple ones?
Yeah,
I had to play Zork on stream because of you. You know that, right?
You didn't have to play it.
I did.
You just wanted to see what it was about.
No, I had to play it on stream because of you. I'm blaming you for everything going forward. I'm just gonna let you know.
Return to Zork's a good game. I don't. The thing is, I know you. I saw your stream of it. You were trashing it, which I totally get. It's from a bygone era. There's a reason games like that don't exist anymore. Because what it was is Zork started out as a really, really old game in like the 60s that was a text-only game on a computer, right? That's what games were kind of back then. They didn't have visuals. And then, so this just became like a visualized version of the text-style Zork, which compared to modern gaming seems ancient and decrepit and dumb because it's like a massive, huge puzzle game that you have to remember a lot of shit. And if you don't remember shit, you can't get anywhere. Like literally, I beat it one time ever, and it took me 8 years, and I have a stack of notebooks that are almost as tall as me, full of notes, to get through the game.
Man, out here doing math, doing English class.
Yeah, basically, but that's what gaming was basically before my time. There was Atari and stuff, but like this I mean, the Zork franchise predates Atari, so. But Return to Zork was their attempt at a visual, and it actually was a well-reviewed game at the time. But modern gaming's passed away. But I knew the fact that you have never played it before growing up, that when you went to play it, I'm like, he's gonna think this is like the worst game, like gutter trash. I just know it. I just know it because he didn't grow up playing it, so he missed the heyday when there really wasn't a lot of better games back then.
Vito says, "Is anyone waiting for a new Switch Lite, or they retired?"
And like, what do we mean? Like an OLED Switch Lite?
Yeah, like a new Switch Lite, like something like an OLED or a Nintendo Switch Lite Pro, Super Switch Lite.
I mean, when they release an upgraded system or whatever, there'll be a Lite
new
version,
Nintendo Switch Lite.
Yeah, I mean, they'll release an upgraded. I see. I don't think you'll ever see an OLED one, at least of the current models of Switch, because they want to keep it cheap. Like that's the whole point of it being a cheap option. Right. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think that I never want to play Zork again. That's really what's going through my mind right now. Is that was like the first thing.
So what you're saying is what you're saying
that and the fact.
Okay.
And I was on Twitter and I saw my stupid post that I'm doing, where I talked about what people want to complain about. I wanted to see if I was going to ask you any other questions, but I didn't. We pretty much went over everything. So those were the two things. If you want to know exactly on my mind, that
yeah,
was
I got one.
Thinking.
Well, I think it was really one more question on my side here.
Okay. I decided to have relations with my wife today instead of complain on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
It was,
I hear you.
it was either one or the other. Your boy's getting old. I need a baby.
I'm good. No more babies over here. I got 3 kids.
My man,
I'm
you
good.
tied it up. You retired, huh?
I retired having babies. I haven't retired the relations, but
The relations are ongoing.
the relations
But
the relations are a 5 time a week event, so don't worry about it.
5 times a wait, hold up, Prime. 5 times a week?
Oh yeah.
Dang!
And we've been together 11 years, so still going strong
5
over here.
times a week?
Let's just say there's a lot of stress in this house, and we know how to relieve it.
Porn star Prime.
Oh, it's awesome.
That's why you had nothing bad to say about Jimmy Garoppolo. This man always, I love Jimmy Garoppolo.
No,
Jimmy Garoppolo is
look,
great. This man ain't never say a bad thing about Jimmy Garoppolo in his life.
No, hey, look, the Packers are down 10 points here in the fourth quarter. They're probably going to lose. They're about to punt. And honestly, it's cool because I know how my night's ending, so it's whatever.
They say Prime never punts. He's on the offense. Prime don't got a punter on his team. He's just on offense. He got it's just offense. All offense, man. He's the greatest show on turf. The great.
Oh my God.
Oh, don't call Prime porn star. Don't call him that. I'm joking. I'm being.
See, he's going even a little more hardcore than I go on my streams anymore, guys. There was a time where there was no hold bars on my side, but I tried to be a little nicer these days.
You can't have no holds barred because then people start disrespecting you when you start doing no holds barred.
People still disrespect me anyway, so what do I care?
Yeah, but if you do no holds barred, then people are just gonna really just be like, oh, I can say whatever I want now. The floodgates open when you do that. Listen, to be more on a serious note, we saw what happened with Etika and everything. Like when you have a no holds barred stream, like it really it can mess with you a little bit mentally because people just start saying, oh well, I'm just gonna say this.
Yeah, even if you don't hear them complain about it, it's people internalize a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, that's how his streams were. And I would cringe through the streams because like people would just say the craziest things, and you can see sometimes it hurt him. Sometimes it actually hurt him. Like, yeah, some days he was like, okay, funny, but other days he was like, yo, man, that's not funny. Like the same joke, that's not funny. So that's why you got to just be try to tone it down a little bit. That's why I don't want to go too far with things. But
yeah, we used to be a little extreme with our debates at times back in the day.
Byron, stop tagging me. He says Marlin Gaming Nation, Griffin Gaming, and RGT85 agrees with me that the PlayStation is swiping the Game Awards this year. What does that even mean? Are they stealing it? Swiper knows swiping? What is this? Dora the Explorer? Like what? Why? What do you come here telling me other people say all the time? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, who cares? Yeah, okay, maybe
who cares?
maybe those
had
people.
A discussion on it.
Yeah, maybe those people do think it's going to happen.
Times.
Who cares?
I don't care.
Yeah.
If they got a Dora the Explorer freaking sponsorship, Swiper knows swiping, they're swiping, this good for them. We already discussed this. The people at the Game Awards play PlayStation the most.
Yep.
So PlayStation games get nominated the most.
I mean, PC gets snubbed more than anyone if we want to talk about who gets snubbed.
If you feel good about that or if you like that, good for you. I have a PlayStation, good for you. If you think 4-hour cat games and Sifu's a fighting game and all this stuff and you agree with them, for real, my boy, really more power to you. More power to you.
I don't think I can get over that.
If you're an actual gamer and you play all the games, you would probably think games like Triangle. Actually, most people think that because the reviews all rated better. You would think games like Kirby, Triangle Strategy, Xenoblade, and all those games, all the games that were released that did better, reviewed better, people liked just as much, sold probably just as good as these games, if not better. You would think that those games would get some more love, but it's not about that. It's about PlayStation winning so many awards. It's not about the best, about what was great and rewarding. It's about PlayStation to you. So that's why I said you're a special young man and you have a bright future. Okay, so good for you, my man. There you go. I was been ignoring him, but I finally responded to. I responded to his comment once already, but he keeps on spamming me. So Byron, there you go. You happy? There you go. Swiper knows swiping the awards that are clearly not all there. But hey, if you feel good about it, like I said, more power to you. and PlayStation.
I
Congratulations.
I hope God of War wins 9 awards and then loses to Elden Ring for Game of the Year, just to kind of prove how messed up the whole situation is.
I think that happened. That's already happened before. Death Stranding. Death Stranding gets nominated a bazillion times, then Sekiro wins Game of the Year.
Yeah.
That's happened. Control, and then Sekiro, which got nominated way less than those games. That's Game of the Year.
Yeah.
That's Game of the Year.
Well, it's kind of funny because, like, honestly, Elden Ring probably should have the most nominations and doesn't. So it's whatever.
Yeah. It's got RPG. It's got narrative. It's got,
like, I don't know, like, how God of War's out for 5 days and it has more nominations. I don't know how we. It's like they forgot what they played earlier.
They were playing the game before.
Well, yeah,
at least some of them were.
Yes, some of them. I don't want to make any presumption. You know, at this point, I'm not even sure if the people who vote played the games at all.
They played a 4-hour cat game. We know that.
Well, I'm sure they played.
Or they
that.
had a cat in real life and was like, you know what? That's a cool game. You know.
I mean, these are the same people that said Sifu is a fighting game, and it's very hard to take a panel seriously when they are mislabeling a game because they can't think of another game to fill the slot because they can't use Google.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is that you're praising people who think Sifu is a fighting game. Like,
it's a solid game, but it's the wrong category.
Yeah, how do you sit there and realistically say, yeah, PlayStation is, while they're nominating Sifu as a fighting game, as in a versus fighting game, head-to-head fighting combat? Like, it's clearly there's some issues.
And they nominated it in the correct category later, so it's kind of like it can't be both. It's just they're not compatible. That's not how gaming works.
Wait, are you sure King of Fighters isn't a action game too?
Yeah, right.
Are you sure?
Wait a second. There is combat in Bayonetta 3. Isn't that a fighting game? You fight things.
Bayonetta 3 could be a fighting game when you think about it.
Well, that's probably the same argument they're using for Seafood to make it a fighting game.
Okay. Well, shout outs to them, man. They did a great job this year. This was a Call of Duty's an action game. That's
clearly. Hey,
there's no first person shooter category, right?
No, surprisingly. I think they used to. I will give Jeff Keighley some credit. There used to be like 45 awards. He has cut them down.
Yeah, he's cut them down quite a bit.
So.
You know, there's first person shooters this year. They could have had a first person shooter category this year.
They could have. Yeah. Let me see. What FPSs came out?
There's the Hellsinger game.
Yeah.
There is the Overwatch, Call of Duty. There was more first person shooters that I get. You could have. I guess maybe you can't really put Neon White there. I mean, you could have maybe. But there was a number of.
Oh, dude, the High on Life game too. I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
that one's actually pretty good.
I mean, you could have. I guess Halo came out too late last year. So is it nominated for anything this year?
Or
was Halo?
Was Halo nominated?
Halo?
Wasn't Halo a November game last year?
Oh, okay, yeah, no. Halo was nominated for what's it called? User's Choice Game of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it won that.
But nothing else because it was too late. And then it didn't get nominated for anything this year because, guys, this is what happens. Anything released in the second half of November and December never can be awarded anything.
Good luck.
I mean, just ask Smash Bros.
Yeah, Smash Brothers. I think it got nominated for 3 awards: Game of the Year, Family Game, and Fighting Game. It won. I think it won Fighting Game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it won Fighting Game that year. Yeah.
I don't know if it won anything else, but it was the highest rated game though in that whole thing.
Yeah, it was the highest rated game out of all of them, and was crushing it in sales, and was by far and away, at least at that point, widely considered the greatest fighting game to ever exist. And if that can't take the crown, if that can't get more awards, then fighting games just don't have a chance. But then again, fighting games apparently include Sifu, so I guess it's an irrelevant category to them.
It's what it is.
Sorry, I can't let the Sifu thing go.
We're gonna go ahead and wrap.
It's so bad.
We're gonna wrap
how do you put a game in that isn't even part of that category? I
don't know. I'm actually so confused. I need to go get a drink. So, Prime man, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. Where can they find you at?
Well, obviously you can find me on YouTube. What was it? YouTube.com/C/Nintendo Prime YT, or just type Nintendo Prime in the search. It's much easier. I think they got at things now. I don't know how you use them, but it's at Ninty Prime, which is also the same as my Twitter handle. If you guys
I'm
want
gonna
to
post Prime's channel in the chat. You guys go subscribe to the channel. For people on Prime's channel, you can find me Player Essence.
Yeah,
I'm here doing absolutely nothing. Absolutely no. I cover RPGs and Nintendo stuff, but RPGs and Nintendo stuff.
Oh, they did change it. They did put the @ in the URL now. Good for YouTube doing something. I don't know what the point of it is, but
hey, look, man. After this whole situation with Twitter, YouTube looking like super S tier at this point.
yeah, right. YouTube looks great.
YouTube's out here like polishing up their nail. You know what I'm saying? Like the old school. Polishing up their, blowing on their nails and like going like this.
Well, I'm waiting for them to turn the community section into a pseudo Twitter at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if Twitter goes kaput, which it seems like a lot of the people are like
thinking,
if there was like mass, like people just quit.
I'll be there as long as there's a big enough audience that wants to watch my shit. Otherwise, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right. Well, thanks for the
real quick before we go. Shout outs to Bead Queen with the $20 Jump Force donation. The funniest thing is that she donated that $40. It's the clip. I don't know if you've seen this clip, Prime. I'll ask you this before we go. The clip of Baron Black. You ever know Baron Black? Yeah. Content. He's a wrestler for AEW. Oh, yeah. He went ballistic on the Game Awards in 2019, and it was a clip of him reacting to Jump Force being nominated as the best fighting game or one of the best fighting games. And when he finds out that Jump Force is nominated, he goes, "Jump Force!" And then he just starts like destroying his stand. He just starts screaming. He throws his headphone and goes, "Jump Force! Jump Force!" And I have like a notification, like a donation that's set up to Baron.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll send you the clip. Later. It's actually super. It's like the funny. Like literally, I was like out of breath because I was watching it live, and I remember it's much funnier live. But when it happened, I was just like everybody in the chat. We were like literally like I was like hyperventilating. It was so funny because he's just going nuts that Jump Force got nominated for Fighting Game of the Year. Classic clip. Shout out to Bead Queen. What's a Game Awards discussion without Baron Jump Force? That's what Bead Queen said. Thank you for the donation.
I'm gonna have to see that clip. That sounds hilarious.
Yeah, I
think I've seen that pop up on your stream, and I didn't really get the reference.
Yeah, it's because it's small too. Because the more text that you put, it makes it smaller. But if you see it like right there on your YouTube screen and like you watch it, it's actually really funny because he's kind of calm. Like he's not super calm, but he's kind of calm. And then it gets like all the way up to like 100. This, like I said, this was like years ago. This is 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019. So that was like the most controversial year of the Game Awards. So this year's controversial, but it's not as controversial.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, the thing is like, like usually it's the Game of the Year award that's the most controversial. And I think everyone can accept that. I mean, look, we can complain about Cat Game, we can complain about whatever, but everyone kind of knows it's between two games.
Yeah.
So
Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's Elden Ring or God of War.
Elden Ring and Stray.
Yeah, clearly.
Or is it Stray and it's between Stray and I don't know what's
Sifu.
Stray and
Sifu's a hidden option. Sifu's a hidden option.
Sifu's the hidden. when you're voting for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it really means it's actually siphoning votes to Sifu. In that.
Yep. Oh, here's how they ranked. Oh, Sifu got in with a bunch of write-in votes.
Yeah, it's like that game users choice Game of the Year. Let's go, baby. All right, shout outs though, Prime. Thanks for talking with me.
No problem.
You're the best, man. I hope your Packers lose because they're in the NFC. So I don't want anybody testing my Niners.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at, especially after that big win against the Cowboys. What's going on here?
Yeah, the Packers are probably going to lose here unless they can force another punt, but it's all right.
What's the score is?
They're down 10
27
points.
to
yeah. They just punted. So there's
10
time.
points.
There's time. They pull off a 14-point comeback last game. Like, yeah, there's time, but the defense has to do its thing. That's whatever.
Okay. All right then, Prime. I'll talk to you later, my boy.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out to the stream tonight, man.
Yeah, later, man. Have a good night.
All right, take it easy.
Yep. Bye. All right. So that was Player Essence, everybody. Did you guys have a good time? Did you enjoy the stream? Arctic, by the way, thank you for the $2. Halo Combat Evolved is your favorite point and click game. Nice. Yeah, that's a good game. It's a good game. You point at the enemies and you click. Yeah. No, I know Halo Combat Evolved. Let's see here. My fantasy team's going nuts. That's all that matters. My fantasy team's doing all right. I got Christian Watson starting. He's got 2 tutties, so I'm doing pretty good. Can you say Nintendo Power? I just did. It was a fun conversation. Yeah, I figured it was just something different for you guys. You know, it wasn't meant to be like a super serious stream. It was just having a conversation. You guys know, like OJ's like, hey, it's not. My streams usually aren't that serious. Mine aren't either. It felt like I was having a serious conversation about the TGAs on Tuesday, but I just had some stuff I needed to get off my chest about it that was kind of bothering me, and I could have did it in a video, but you guys know my videos have been kind of a little bit all over the place lately. It's been interesting trying to get back into the flow around here as we get deeper and deeper in the holiday season. But we got some fun content coming. I do a lot of Nintendo news and stuff, but let's see here. It was a very fun stream. Good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I don't know how many more streams I'll do teaming up with other YouTubers, just having them come on and chit-chatting. But that was fun. You guys are awesome. I'm probably going to be calling this a night. Did Yulia scold me in the chat? Did Yulia pop in and yell at me? Be hilarious if she did. I'm scrolling up in the chat trying to find her. I'm like, I'm not seeing you. I don't think I saw Yulia here all night. I don't think she was watching this one today. Will we see Mr. OJ in the future podcast of Mike Odyssey and Mr. Eric? I don't know for sure. What I can say is I'll invite him on. I can't guarantee that schedules line up and that everything works out. He's got his own thing, his own YouTube stuff he's got to do. But I mean, I had him on back in like March, but it was, admittedly, that was a really rough show. We had just launched a new studio, and of course, my dumb butt decided to have a guest on for like one of our first shows in the new studio, and none of the equipment was working. One, the Rodecaster we didn't have back then. That's really simplified things. And even now, like when I had to do things like, oh, I got to go change camera inputs if we're both going to be on camera. Like I had this thing set up here. Like I was going to be here, OJ was going to be over there. I don't know what his setup was going to be like with 2 people. So I sat there and I was like, okay, well, I already know what to do to make it work, right? Like there's how I want it to work with the second camera, but because I didn't start the test video on Discord before launching Streamlabs, I had to use this camera, and I already knew what I needed to do to make that work because I've already been through the ringer, right? In this new studio setup with all the equipment we got, I've already been through everything. So now, like, if there's a problem, I know what to do to at least Band-Aid it for now before I address it once the stream ends. So I would like to have them on where we're not having all those technical issues. And you know what? I tried to get him on for Xenoblade. I wanted him to come on the launch week of Xenoblade because he's the big, he knows more about Xenoblade than I do. He just factually does. But he it just ended up not working out. So I wouldn't expect him to come on frequently. He invited me this time, and I usually always accept an invite, especially when it's one of my regular streaming nights, anyways. But it'll be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. I think he'll probably be on a podcast at some point. I hear him. I don't know, say the next 3 months. I'll try to get him on before Zelda comes out for sure. Maybe Fire Emblem Engage. Maybe I should get him to come on for Fire Emblem Engage. So yeah, I'd like to get him to come on. Me and OJ have been buddies for a long time. I'd like to get RGT on sometime too. He doesn't always respond to me, but especially since there's this whole controversy between him and Switchforce. I gotta go watch that video. So because I gotta watch that video, we're actually gonna sign off. I want to thank you guys though for everything. Thanks for the couple super chats we had during the stream. I do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I think it was Brian C and Arctic. Thank you guys for that. You guys have a good rest of your night. I'm going to leave this stream public since it was a dual stream with another YouTuber. I felt like it was a really good stream, so we're going to leave this one public. I'm not going to unlist it, guys. So you can watch it later in case you missed any of the early conversation. All right, guys? Have a good rest of your evening. I'm going to finish watching my Packers lose. Bye, guys.